permutation stuff. Then it'll be the criticism, the disad, advantage 1, advantage 2. Look, Matt, it's an easy way to say validation point is that we will win the permutation. Remedies linked to the criticism, but it's it's still not that beneficial, which is the reason why they don't get to kick their counterclaim. Remember, the reason as to why they get to kick and the dispositionality is if it's not net beneficial. We can see that it links to the net benefits in the 1AR. He's pretty good on this. This means you don't get to kick your criticism or counterclaim. It solves all the links to the criticism. Now the permutation. And second, the second reason is we will win offense on the rollback. This that they are just straight up conceding our Kennedy evidence, which is pretty good on the question. They do not have card 1 to answer the fact that we will push Kennedy left until be in a voting block with Souter, Ginsburg, Breyer, etc., who will all handstrap Roberts' ability to swing the court to the left. This means that we access all the genocide arguments better. Permutation grouping. First is that the permutations attest to the criticism because then you clarify that it's an alternative to the counterclaim. They would say you go for a criticism without an alternative, which is not worse than any of their intrinsicness arguments. Second is that they can see that this isn't intrinsicness. There is no remedy specified in our plan. It's just the Supreme Court. The counterclaim will merely be perceived as implementation for our plan, which means it takes out all.
It's not severance. We concede we do magnet schools.
Yes,
There's just white flight.
We concede that we do magnet schools. It's still white flight, and we're saying for the course that you don't.
We can still fund all those schools with
we can still fund all the magnet schools.
Not all the magnet schools, all the poor urban schools.
And all the poor urban schools they're talking about. And if I would say either A subpoint, that means that we get our impact turns to your counterclaim, or B subpoint, that means that you don't get an alternative to your criticism. That means there's no way of remedy links. Criticism, you have no way to remedy all your links. All your links are indicated for the quote. Well, our evidence indicates that there's an ongoing genocide. None of their evidence on our advantage denies the truth value of these claims. It merely says that local control can allow for some solvency, but our evidence is indicative of what's actually happening in the quote. This means all this genocide is inevitable. We're the only ones with a plan to stop it. Now, you're going to say, no, you extend our Wells evidence from the 1AC. It indicates that we remedy all your links. Our evidence indicates that in face-to-face interviews with teachers in desegregated environments, that they have actually changed their pedagogy to be in line with the cultural attitudes of minorities. Our evidence indicates that at least new forms of critical pedagogy which are critical to solving all of your links. You should prefer our evidence because it's not just studies. It's talking about face-to-face interviews with teachers, which none of their evidence assumes. Now all their let's see. Okay, now you're going to extend our other piece of Wells evidence from the 1AC. It indicates that face-to-face encounters are the only way to remedy racism, which makes all your impacts inevitable. Even if they win all of their contact theory, not so great arguments, they have no way to access this. Our evidence indicates that the only way that we're going to constrain and lead to some kind of post-racist democracy is if we desegregate. We get people talking face-to-face in any fashion. Yeah, that's fine. Rollback, they do not control uniqueness of this disadvantage. Our Roberts evidence indicates that our evidence indicates that Roberts is chomping at the bit to make conservative decisions in the quote. They have absolutely zero reason as to why he still wouldn't do it, even if he's constrained by stare decisis. He can do things like limit the cases. The fact all their moderate arguments are all irrelevant. All these arguments are irrelevant. Our blue evidence indicates that Roberts has an agenda that he will inevitably push, even in the world that they win. This stare decisis constraint a little bit. Now I won't go for our overrule uniqueness. I'll just go for the number 4, which is what's the
Kennedy.
that Kennedy hates yeah, hates affirmative action.
The key is that you still weigh the Iran stuff versus impact. Remember, their counterplan, they can't get out of it in reference to whether or not it's a policy option. The permutation was only a way to alleviate the link to the criticism.
Okay, yeah, go back to the counterplan, extend all of our Iran stuff. You can't get out of any of these impacts extinction because of the permutation was only, clear in the 1AR that the permutation was only relevant in the world of the criticism, now with the advantage. Look, all their tracking and magnet arguments are all inevitable in the status quo. They cannot have a defense of the status quo schools, even if they win. They have the local control equals democracy in the abstract. All of our evidence, all of our Powell evidence is talking about how local control in the status quo has been leveraged by the elites in the suburbs to equal no democracy. None of their evidence assumes this, and all their tracking and their magnet arguments are all irrelevant. Our evidence indicates that magnet schools will be used. It will be voluntary in some areas. This takes out all of this. Yeah, this takes out all of their links to like magnet schools because it will be what school choice, etc. And even if this is true, this is all explained on the counterplan. We're the only way that you can get any kind of face-to-face interaction. All their safety valve argument as to how we lead to more imperialism is just bunk. They can't articulate how we somehow lead to more. Now this black movement stuff, there's no example of how any of these movements have remedied anything in the last 20 years. We're the only solution in the status quo to racism. Yeah.
All the well stuff on the assimilation.
Extend all of our well stuff here too.